Right. So as I was saying, so this one is non-interactive because it's just been designed on a PowerPoint slide, and this is just going to be showing you how the two page of the dashboards are going to look like. So this is going to be the first page. Let me do it very well so you can see clearly. This is going to be the first page, and this first page you're going to be having five cards. If you look at the case study, I think some of you did not read the case study. You just want the data set directly. If you read the case study, one thing you will see about the Greenpay is that we actually put into dashboard, and the first dashboard, I told you what will be included there. So this is going to be the first dashboard, and you can design this frame even on PowerPoint and just copy paste it to Excel. Then you will now begin to put your chart and all that here. So, but this is the wireframe. This is the KPI cards, and I have just the charts on it and all that. And this is page one, page two, and this is what I'm going to put the slides at. So another thing I also noticed is that some of you do not know that slides are um, can be formatted and formatted in so many ways, so many ways. Yeah. So yeah, this is transaction volume, total value for page two. You can see average ticket size, active agents, split cover. Because the difference between this one and this now is that you can see for this one, this transaction volume, this transaction volume, total volume, success rate, average ticket size, average agent, split covered. So the difference now is this one is an overview of transaction, agent, and region for 2024. While this breakdown of type, channel, and time. Right. But you can see the KPI cards are still the same thing, but this is just a continuation. It's just that's why it's a two-page dashboard. It's going to be like page two. And for here and here, we can actually put in the hyperlinks to just jump into the two pages as case may be. Right. So these are what we are going to be working on. If I actually wanted to make it easier, I would have just sent the PowerPoint document to you guys. If I'm sending PowerPoint document, I just easily copy and go and paste it on the Excel. Then when I start working, because you have the frame already. Meanwhile, we delete all these cards and all this chat, but I actually want us to just scroll it from the scratch, right? So so we have transaction volume, total volume, success rate. And don't forget, we are familiar with the fact that your KPI cards are also from your pivot tables, right? So we're going to create our pivot for KPIs, right? And blah blah blah. So hope we are following. If you are following, can just react. Can just react if you are following. But you guys can hear me clearly now. Just react. So I'll see you guys are following. If you can hear me, just kindly react. Just react. Okay. So brief. This is a brief. This is a brief. This is the data cleaning. This is the raw data. One thing about data cleaning is that it should not even be a constraint because even AI tools can now clean data. Like this one now. This and let me just show you the workflow of how to clean data using AI. It's simple. So you know this. Just make the whole process easier. Is it this or this? So this is just putting it on clouds. Yeah. So this is the data set, clean the data. So you can just use the prompt clean the data. So the prompt clean data, as you clean data, then we to have this which you can download. So it will just give something like this. Right. So then we have our data cleaned. We have our data cleaned, and it's going to also give the cleaning note. So this is what AI tool can actually do. Cloud can clean your data. You cannot create your dashboard. So that's where you come in, right? That's where you come in. The data are cleaned now. So instead of having to like do the data cleaning yourself, it's actually like cleaned it. So let's see. So now you can see this scenario here, which is like the summary of where we have even in our um let me just quickly walk you through the okay. So let me quickly let us quickly go through the Greenpay dashboard. The Greenpay ah, so this is the Greenpay case study basically. This is the Greenpay case study. And one thing about case studies, the first thing you need to know about case studies is to actually go through the case study file and the case study document here, which is here in PDF form, to actually really understand what is actually going on in the business. One skill data analyst has, which is a soft skill, is actually attention to detail. And I can see that some people that do their assignments, one of the corrections I made to them is that no, this dashboard I said is 2 page. Why are you creating a 1 page? That means you don't have an attention to detail, right? That means you don't have an attention. That means you don't have an attention to detail, right? Because if there's actually an attention to detail, you would have really just gone through. That's why I want you guys to imbibe that culture, because the corporate culture, right, whereby you need to actually pay attention to what you are asked, not what you feel, okay? Uh, so, Greenpay agents processes cash deposit, withdrawal, bills payments, airtime top-ups, and transfers across 30 states and the FCT. Every export. So Greenpay is just like money point. You get the idea now. So Greenpay is like money point. It's just like a fintech app. So you get now. It's just a fintech app. And I'm saying these things now because some of you now, these are what you can actually like say in an interview, right? Some of you might actually be an interview and you don't know that you have actually done a real life project. You get what I'm saying? So this is like money point. Like there might be a day that you might be doing interview with the fintech, and this app stories you tell, right? That I analyze the data for you fintech, hypothetical fintech, compliance. You talk about what you did, and that's what you are saying now. Do you get what I'm saying? Now? So every process, every thing you do, you must actually take it personal. Like You must actually understand what went through, what you actually did, right? What you actually did is very important. So Greenpay agents process cash deposits, withdrawals, bill payments, airtime top-ups, and transfer across 50 states and the FCT. Every export from the food reporting system arrives inconsistent, incomplete, and duplicated before it can power any management decision. It has to be cleaned, right? So, you know, their deposits, their withdrawals from people across the 36 states. You know all those data now. Some people might want to withdraw, but they might not finish the transaction. You know that kind of stuff happen now. And at the back end, that will lead to incomplete. Right. So Greenpay has a national footprint. Sorry. Greenpay has a national footprint. That means transactions are logged across 6 geopolitical zones. Right. So data quality issues, there are mixed date formats, typos, blanks, and duplicates. Third one, no geographic view. That means you cannot actually see performance by state. Performance by state is a geographic view. You want to know the kind of performance that we have for each state, and that will be seen through map, right? And that's why I said in this scenario, you are going to be using map to visualize just a quick view of geography, right? About Greenpay. Greenpay is a fictional Nigerian fintech built for this bootcamp here. I actually created this case study just for this bootcamp, right? And see, one thing I do, and that's why I create case studies like this is to actually allow you flow with this stuff personally. Like there's a way you just blend natural with these stories, and that's one of the motives. So 1,250 active agents for Greenpay. And don't forget, Greenpay is a fictional Nigerian fintech built for this bootcamp, modeled on real agent banking networks that extend basic financial service to under-the-served community through a distributed network of independent agents. That was it's not like Money Point. Money Point has agents that does the POS services up and down. 1,250 plus active agents, 36 plus states covered, 1,200 plus transaction times five. Five field groups you claim. So these are the five field groups you are going to claim. Every column has at least real world data quality issues baked in. The reason why we actually give unclaimed data for you guys in this kind of scenario is to ensure that you actually understand the data cleaning process. And you would also know that data are not just you not just come across data like the clean no, data are always unclean. So it's your duty as an analyst to clean them. Right. So transaction info, which is the ID, date, type, and status issues are there. Location info, state, region, and city. Agent info, agent ID, name and tier. Customer info, age and gender. Financial info. Yeah, this is the first dashboard, which is the deliverable, overview, and map. The first page is the executive view. The reviewer should understand. That means you are submitting a dashboard to your company, right? So the person that is getting the dashboard should understand the national performance and spot state level patterns within seconds, and use slicer to drill on. And so the first thing is the headline KPIs. So that's total volume, total value, success rate, average ticket size. Right. We also have the interactive map, transaction value of volume by state or region using Excel map chart. Other charts according to professional description. Yeah. So So page two, dashboard page two, that's breakdown and trends. Right. So this page will let the user compare how performance differs across transaction. So this one is just a more in-depth breakdown. Alright. And how trends over months filtered by the same slicers as page one. So you get filtered as the same by the same slicer. So one thing about all this is that you really don't need to have a lot of slicers. That's one thing. First things first. So for this, we can just work with two slicers. That's we can just do region and month, right? Region and month. Transaction type names, show of volume, channel performance, agency analysis, monthly trends. These are the charts we can actually have on page two to just have a more in-depth analysis. So tools and skills you require for this case study. Excel formulas, right? That is going to use for data cleaning and wizard, Excel wizard. That's like the date to actually format the data and all that. And the next one, pivot tables, is very important. Very important. I told you that data cleaning is not something you spend your time on again. Why? Because you can just do that using your AI. Cloud can actually clear your data. So you don't need to spend time cleaning your data. Let's spend time doing what AI cannot do. Alright, which makes you valuable. Right? Meanwhile, I've actually taught you the manual way of cleaning data too, so you can also clean it manually, right? For example, map charts, blah 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 blah. Those are things we do, and you know, data validation to cache through entries, deliverables and grading, data cleaning accuracy, the graded, the dashboard design. And, one thing about dashboard is design is very important. Designs are very important, and that's why I told you. And that's where AI comes in. Why? Because you cannot really know colors offhand like that, and you need to use a lot of secondary colors. And colors are in a form which we call code. So when a color is mixed, like to a secondary or tertiary color, most times it comes in a code now. When we're going to have colors that are not the normal colors that we all know, maybe red, blue, yellow, and the likes, right? You now begin to have more. See, and one thing about this assignment is that we want to work on two colors, but don't worry, work on one. While I'll give you the second one as your assignment. I want you guys to post on LinkedIn. Some of you have not been post. I've never seen anybody post safe. Post is very important. Set your career, set your. And at the end of the boot camp, I also teach you guys how to create your portfolio website and also have these things on it. And one thing I also do is simulated interview for everybody. So I've tried to do that, or just for a few selected serious people, we'll do that whereby we'll just ensure that you are good to go. What we walk away with structured training habits, geographic storytelling, interactive reporting, portfolio ready projects. Yeah, thank you. So now, I think you guys are still following. If you're still following, I just react. Let me see. You can react if you are still following me. Can we do that? Okay, well done. So I just want the class to be as interactive as possible. So I think everybody here is good with pivot tables now, right? Everybody here is good with pivots now, right? Mhm. Maybe I'll call him directly. David, are you good with pivots now, right? You are good with pivots. Pivot linking to slicer,
Yes,
API cards.
yes, I'm
Okay,
trying.
yeah, okay, that's good, David. Fire Kemi, Agin Gbulu. Boju. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, man. Are you cool with pivots now? Like you are good with pivots, slicers, and the linking of boots together, and it's also your KPIs. Are you good with that? I'm also for chemical areas. Okay, not really. Okay, okay. Okay. Mm, okay. Farida. Farida. Okay, I'm not sure Farida can hear us. Okay, yeah. Tell me.
Yes, I understand people's TV very well, sir.
Okay, okay, that's cool. So, that's nice. So you can see that page one, which is the overview, should include headline KPIs, right? Geographic map, multi-transaction trend charts, transaction by channel breakdown chart, top 10 agents by volume, transaction by status breakdown chart, right? Page two breakdown should break down performance by transaction type, channel, agent tier, and time month in supporting chart. So you can see that, and to just make it easier, you can see that I already broke down all those stuff here now for you. You can see transaction volume, total value, success rate, average ticket size, active events, and state covered. And you can see transaction value by state, monthly transaction trend, transactions by topic by volume. I think what we just do easily to just make it easier is since I've made a sketch already, and it's which is the same thing we we also have in the case study for our let us look. And today's pivot and everything, I'll just I'll just ensure that even for those that have not gotten it now, this is another chance. So just to ensure you gain perfection, you know okay. So don't forget this data cleaning was done just using AI. You just clean data, that's cloud, and I thought you can do that, and I explained how you do it. Just put it on cloud and tell it to clean the data for me to help you with that. So now, so can I have a people here? So traction by state, traction by state. Can see same thing we have here too. My beef too. Can see. Apart from our KPIs, transaction by volume, transaction volume of value by state or region. Right. So it's the same thing. Also have a transaction value by state. Do you get now? And if you go to our normal clean data, transaction value. Where is transaction value? This is the transaction ID, right? This is the state. And if you say transaction value by state, that state and the amount, right? So this is the transaction value. Yeah, so that's what you be working with, and that can actually be achievable with your pivot. And don't forget, we're going to we'll do that one later. Working with this KPI cards, the total value, right? That's transaction total value, specific, average transaction size, active events, discovered. uh, So, so, so don't forget this is transaction ID, this is agent ID, agent name, state, region, city, transaction type, channel, page. Okay. Right. So you guys are following, but I want to make sure you guys really follow this. So I'll just be calling out some certain people to work with me for some stuff. So I'll call Tim. Tim will work for me to the private. So when I enter the colors, David will work with me with the colors. And I'll call on another person to work with me with something else. Right. So yeah. Tim, can you hear me? Tim, can you hear me? I'm not sure I can. So let's just continue. So that's the normal thing to do concerning favorite items. So I think one thing we did not do here is we can actually come and format this as Naira here, but since I mentioned Naira up here, so no problem. Can just do formatting when we get to. So this is an existing worksheet from now down. So start with this. I don't know what we're doing here first, which is the transaction value by state. So that's state. Right. I know why isn't this to do our first chart? Um this transaction type, amount, fee. So it's counting it, we need to sum it. So then we go to value fix setting, so right. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is what we have basically. Okay. So this is what we're going to have for our fraction volume, for the state, right? Fraction value by state. Um, fraction value by state. We have it here already. So, yep. So go next thing. Multi-transaction trends. Alright. So that's the transaction. So we have the multi-transaction trend, transaction by channel, top agent by volume, transaction by status. So a geographic matching, state origin, cancel. So let's just come and highlight this one like red. So we know that we have created this already. Yeah. So done this already. Right. So the next thing, monthly transaction trends chart. You know what? The reason why I'm creating this pivot because we want to create charts. That's why we are creating the pivot. So monthly transaction trend. So I want to create the monthly transaction for each month. So while we're closing time, just insert pivot, cancel pivot here and existing worksheet. Okay. So it's not converting into months, then you can actually just have our month. Can you just come have our month beside. So just like you creating an extra column for this. So I know what we did now, so let me just explain what I did now. So normally in this my people wanted to just do transaction per month, and you know, but there was no month. Basically, I wanted to do transaction per month, so I have to just I have to just try to create an EPA column, and I have to create a column for month. And how do we extract month? How do we extract month from date? We do that by using the text function. So it's like this. So the text function converts a value to text in a specific number format. So what is the value? This, right? And if I'm quoting MMMMM, that means I want the month in four, like in like full. I mean, I want the month in full. But I'm using M in three, just like 3M. I want it in abbreviated, but I want it in full. So if I'm actually double tapping this to fill up the formula, I'm having my month in full. You get what I'm saying now? But assuming I want the month not in full, like in abbreviated formula in format, then I will have actually to say be saying something like this: June, June, April, September. We actually want it in full. So that's what the text function does, ensuring that we can actually pull up our month from our dates like this. So we have something like this. So with this now you can see that we can now have our pivot for transaction per month, right? Transaction per month. So now we have a month transaction trend chart. Right, so set pivot table. So okay, I think if it's trying to misbehave, then we can actually just create a new column and come and paste as just paste as values. Yeah, can just come and paste as values, but to affect the date. So what do we do? Okay. I can't move this. Yes, can't move this. Yeah. Let's try again because it's actually meant to pick um the pivot properly in terms of month. There's not doing that, so you might have to just copy and paste another tab. Then you can actually restart the pivot. So with that, will definitely work properly. And let's see if this. I can see month. I can see month. So I think that let's can just work with it quickly. Can delete this one then.
Hello, ma. Yes. We're busy. We're close, right?
Can you just restart? Just restart. So just be very
Yeah,
fast
that's
now.
ma.
So because I added a new extra column, so it will not reflect.
We're busy.
So you get so let's go again.
That was good. I'm sorry, I won't see your name.
So transaction value
Oh,
by state.
uh, that's good. That. I love that. That's good. Keep it up. Before, keep it up. Keep it up. You are getting better. There's room for improvement. You can do better. Keep, that's how you get better. At least, according to Paris, but improve. Uh, how would you right? Ah, 13. What you are in class with 13? Ah, wàá ṣì wà wàá ti gùdì ìgbà yẹn náà lẹ́yìn. Màá àbọ̀ mo lè má check ẹ̀ báyìí mo busy ó máa di bí alẹ́ kí n tó ráyè o bí alẹ́ pátápátá. Ṣé kí bá yín sẹ́ màá bá yín sẹ́ndì 200 nísìn. Kì í ṣe
So
kì
this
í
one
ṣe
we
èsì
have
o.
here. So we're having transaction value per month.
Mi èmi ò kí ń ṣe data mọ́ Greenpay mò ń lò nílé.
So it's not count with some, don't forget.
Muiz ló máa jẹ́ mi connect mọ́ mi kí ń ṣe data mọ́. No no tí Muiz no no
And the reason why
tí Muiz bá ti yọ ó láìpẹ́ kò
we
sí
have
iná
to
ID mi bọ̀ mi kí ń ṣe data tèmi.
do this is that most times when you have made a couple of changes in terms of data cleaning,
Ṣé kí n ṣe nísìnyí?
you have to the best practice is just for you to create another tab, go and copy that previous tab and paste as value.
Báwo?
So you get like don't paste as don't do control V to paste as to paste the formula as
Wọ́n
join,
ti
you know.
yọ class gan, wọ́n
Just
ti
paste
kọ́kọ́
as values.
fún wa kó kì í
Right.
báyìí.
So just paste as
Àwa gan
values.
òyìnbó ta fẹ́
So
tẹ̀
to
fún.
just bring in only the values. So you're able to see everything we have done and all that. You
Sign
get.
as tó má ti di September.
So
Ẹ
yeah.
ẹ̀nà
Fraction
àti
by
boost bàbá ìta ní ló fà. Kí ló dé kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Yes ma, ó yá yàgò yes ma.
I think we are still together now. If you are still following, you can just react. So one other way, apart from even this approach, right? One other way you can because I see there's an amount is not picking here. I can see. Okay, let me check that. I think there's a blank month. We'll check that later. All right. Okay, so I was asking that if you are following, you can just react. Why I also explain. So I was talking about this first part when I was talking about clouds for data cleaning. Right. Even your pivot, you can ask questions. That's something you can't do the pivot, but you can ask questions. You can say, okay, what are the pivots? Pivots I need to create for my first dashboard page. If you ask these questions, look at this fast. Like you can see here, states. Values is count of transaction as the sum of amount. And the multi-trend pivot, blah 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 blah. Channel breakdown pivot, top 10 agents, status breakdown, cancel. So since we will follow here too, I've done two. So I've done transaction value by state, multi-transaction trend, so the transaction by channel, and so what we are doing in transaction by channel, basically we want to know how many transactions from each channel. You can see this is channel here, right? So we want to know how many transactions that took place, and you can do that in transaction ID. And why we use transaction ID? is that every transaction we have its own ID. Right, that means no two transactions will have the same ID. Right, so those of you that have made payments in one way or the other before, you understand what I'm saying. No two transactions has the same ID. That means each transaction will have its own ID. Right, okay. Okay, I'm simply going to click on this. But you guys are following now. You can just react if you are following. Let me see. So I know that you guys are following. So just reacting emojis just so I can see you are following. Can we do that? Alright. So let's continue what we're saying. So we're talking about transaction by channel. Let's just name this multi-transaction trend. So the transaction by channel, of our channel. Need to have count of transaction ID. So know how many transactions. That means for mobile app, we have 362 transactions. POS terminal 307 and etc. What's the next thing? Top agents by volume. Top agents by volume. That's we need to also have this table. Then there's a way we bring the table to the chat. I'll show you how to do that then. Let's first do transaction by status. So this is transaction by status. Transaction by status. The next thing is top agent by volume, agent ID, state and volume. Top agent by volume.
Ah, ó kúṣẹ́ o. Ó kúṣẹ́ o. Ó kúṣẹ́ o. Ìgbà tẹ̀sẹ̀ mi. Ó tẹ̀lé. Ó kúṣẹ́ o.
Um, okay, I think I just bring in that particular part of the table using formulas. I don't want to do that. So that's the problem. Okay, now, so we have these four pivots. That's for chart. So the first part of these dashboards, both of them are using the same cards. So just leave that. Let us deal with this also. This second transaction type mix. So the transaction type mix. Right? So it's something you can just like what I was showing you is that I was asking that you can also ask AI the questions so that okay, for example, what are the pivots for my second so transaction type breakdown. So transaction type values count of transaction ID or sum of amounts or average of amounts. Fit the column chart comparing volume versus value by type. Right. So that's transaction so it's given it's going to be given a donut. So, for this fraction type function ID, we let us know how many we have for each transaction. Or can actually call it transaction type mix. Where's another color for this pivot so that we know that it's different? Can just easily differentiate it. Right. So let's pull up the rest very quickly. Channel performance. Okay. Channel, count of transaction ID. So that's agent tier analysis. Oh, channel performance. Let's do channel performance. Yes, so this one will follow. So we have here. Third thing, agent tier analysis. So that's the agent tier. The actually is the count of transaction ID, which is actually talking about the count of transaction per agent. But we actually use the sum, which is actually giving the sum of the amount that the agent actually brings. So each of them is just giving the comparison of the agent. Do you get what I'm saying now? So either the transactions are, so let us use, for example, let's use sum of amount here and agent here. Like, so I can use amount now. So just like maybe sum of amount of each agent. Right. Or user count.
Lesson 7. Action unlocks your success. All the planning, goal setting, and
So
confident thinking
you can see.
won't create results unless you take action.
So that's again to analysis.
Simple but powerful truth. Ideas without action are worthless. Momentum only comes when you move from thought to execution. Taking action doesn't mean waiting for perfect conditions or endless motivation. Remember, small steps taken consistently are far more effective than grand gestures delayed in depth. Even the
One more
tiniest
thing,
action
one more thing, one more thing.
starts to build momentum,
Um,
and opening doors you never imagined.
monthly trend by type.
Also transforms fear into doubt. Often, the thought of starting is intimidating,
Monthly trend
but once you take that first
by
step,
type.
clarity emerges, confidence grows, and progress accelerates. In other words, action breeds more action. It's the engine.
So this month transaction
IBM
type.
also emphasizes that procrastination is the enemy of success. Every day you wait is a day you allow your goals to drift
It's going to be the columns
by choosing to act now. You take control of
or
your life
channel.
and begin to shape your reality instead of letting circumstances dictate it. The lesson here is clear. Don't just dream, plan, or let's start taking action when the mind calls. Just do it.
So
Whether your next step is small or bold, it matters. Begin today, take consistent action, and watch how the compound effect of action presently creates your desired reality. Today, 7 powerful lessons from Earl Nightingale's The Stranger's Secret.
so
This
what's the
timeless
video here?
masterpiece reveals the power of your thoughts,
Month.
goal setting, discipline, and daily actions to shape the life you truly desire. From cultivating the right mindset and taking responsibility for your life to measuring progress and acting consistently, each lesson offers practical wisdom
So that
that
was
can
the mistake.
transform
Let's
the
be
way you
here.
think,
So
act, and achieve.
and
The Stranger's Secret is an
there's a
absolute
blank
must-read
month.
for listeners. Even if you've heard it before,
So
it's worth revisiting regularly.
and
Each
channel.
time, you'll discover something new and valuable to
I
help
think
guide your journey
we
to
can
success.
just bring in channel as a
By putting
column here.
these lessons into practice, you
Just
can
ensure we
overcome
see
fear,
for each.
embrace opportunities, and
Right,
move
can see for
steadily
each.
toward the life you want to create.
So we know
As
the
Earl Nightingale said,
January transaction ID
have a
for
life
each.
to live. Thank you for tuning in to Wisdom Matrix 1111. Please help support the channel by hitting the subscribe button, liking the video. Keep nurturing your mind, leveling up yourself, and making the most of the world around you. Until next time, peace.
So all these region summary on this festival, I'll show you how we're going to also do that. Let us first do with the KPI cards. So you can just find what are the formulas for the 5 KPI cards. And don't forget, regardless of the formula we see, we know we can't apply it directly like that, but we need to apply it on a pivot too. People actually like doing and saying, well, what was this last one again? Multi trend by type. What should I do? Multi trend by type. And yeah, my KPI cards, I need them here, and they are fine. So I'll show you how we do that. So transaction volume, so that's transaction volume, total value, success rate, average transaction size, active agent. So we actually want this to also work per the slicer too, because we can actually just go and do it directly from the cleaned data, but it will not affect the slicer. We will actually want everything to work dynamically too. Um, so it's just like, oh, so this is transaction volume, like how many transactions do we have? That's what it's trying to say. And this is talking about, so just like the count. Yeah. So, and the next one we're talking about total value and the next. So, so it's just like total volume is the number of transactions, right? Total volume is the number of transactions. So we have that here. So the second one is the total value. Okay, so I think we just use the word total volume. And then we can always formula directly for this, so we still need to create pivots for it. Total volume. So it can be transaction ID. Yeah, total volume. Total value, sum of transaction amount. Sum of transaction amount. That's can actually be like per month. So just for explanatory purpose, I think we can be putting these at the front. So you guys can also see easily in the video. For this, I'm just going to be seeing it after the class. So, and don't forget when you're doing it, just using the AI to just ensure that we everything goes on smooth. The third one is Success rate. Okay. Now you know this formula. Let me just write. I want to use pivots to get the KPIs. So the slicer can also affect the card. So I think that will be better for you, so that you just know the exact pivot that will pull. So this is just the pivot. In the pivot table, leave rows and column empty and add to values. So action ID. So let's start with try and see. So now you want to get total volume. So let's do the pivot for total volume here. So they said field transaction ID. If we do the count of transaction ID to give you the total volume, so let's try that. So the count of transaction ID will give us our total volume. That's 130. Total value sum of amount. But you can see the sum now. Third one, amount for average. Average, that's average transaction size. Amount for average. Agent ID, active agent. 4. Distance count. Someone see you. Okay. So as I was saying, so agent ID count, count, um, is for active agent, we have to use count if. I think that's where the problem is going to come from now. Um, okay. When have we worked on? I work on total volume. I work on total volume. I've worked on. I work on average transaction size. Now for the active agent and state covered. These are the formula I'm going to use, and I'm going to explain also because you need to actually just calculate since the agent is active. So I don't agent ID. I'll still explain. I'll still make explanation on this. Distinct states count. This should be like F, because state is F. So that's how I'm adjusting the formula. And the name of the tab is called claims. I think I made a mistake in this formula. Let me see. Okay. I can't really pinpoint the mistake. State. State is life. Okay. Don't do it. So how our KPIs were calculated, what else do we need? Here. So these two tables, there's these two tables here, which is the region summary, the region, the volume, and the value. The region, the volume, and the value. The region, the volume, and the value. So I think that one is very simple. Um, there are two ways, but the easiest way to do it is just to, the name of the table, don't forget, the name of the table is transaction summary. I will have the region, the volume, and the value. So according to what we have here, we know how many regions we have already. I think we did something on region. If there anything on region, then we should know how many regions we have. Okay, if we not do anything on region, then we can use the unique. Okay, let me scatter this formula. So what I'm talking about here is for regions now. We have southwest, northwest, north central, southeast, and south, blah blah blah. And we know how to do that too. So what we have here, just we have southwest, northwest, south, south, north central. So southwest, northwest. Northwest. South, south. That means even more than four regions also. So now there's actually a particular formula that is used to actually pull distinct values from a column. So in case you don't know the formula, it's something that you should have asked. So for example now, so what is the formula that I can use to pull distinct or unique? That's the formula is called unique. Don't worry. But unique, that's unique regions from, what is the region to begin first? G to infinity. G to G. So show the formula that I can use. Is that formula that you can actually just use to, yeah, this is a 365. It works like that on Google Sheet. You just use the formula called unique. But no, it won't work on every formula like that. So okay, give me the formula that will work on Excel 2021. So this is Microsoft 365 or Google Sheets. The formula will have worked that way. So So they're not support unique keys. That's blah 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 blah. So it works. Okay, this index match. No 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 no. Let's try this. So what I'm saying is we actually use unique, and this is our clean data. Um, so region. Could have just typed it in. It is ended 1000. I can just remember. Um, so what do we have? Okay, so we have the unique values. You can see. So we actually use the unique function. So it's actually the unique function actually pulls up the unique values. Like that's all the unique regions there. Right? I hope you are still following. So how do we pull up the volume? You know, we don't want to use the pivot table for this now. Don't forget I will not use the pivot table. So how to pull up volume? How to pull up value? Alright, so and that's what is here. Volume, value. So volume is like count, like the count of transactions, like the count, just like the count, just like total volume, the count of transaction. While the value is the amount. So if we're actually doing Southwest and we're doing a count of transaction, we get our volume, value, the amount. So you can just better say do our count if. So if we're doing our count if, that's what we're doing our range, and we're doing our criteria. So that will not work. We have to do our sum if. So range, criteria, and sum range. So what is the range? This is the range. Come on. Criteria is Southwest. You can just come and click on it. And there's reason why I will do that to just make it easier for the rest. And sum range is the transaction amount. Okay, let's just edit this one here. 1301 close enter. So this is the value. Now, if this is the value of this should not be string now. Sum if it has three things: range, criteria, and the sum range. Right. Whenever I drag this formula down now, it will start changing this G2 to G3 for this northwest. So we have to just lock it, and that's why we did a topic in this course, what I will call it, that I explained cell referencing. So if we are locking this, if we are locking this on an absolute reference, then we're going to release this. So we're dragging down automatically. So it's look like magic in your eyes. Go back. Go back to seriousness. It's not hard. So this volume here going to be like the count. Actually doing the count if actually doing the counting, then the range. When you do the counting, then do the range. That will be the region. I think 1301. Comma criteria. AL3. AL3. AL4. Sorry, man. Yeah, I actually wanted to reference that particular. And now, let's look it. Look it. I know we're looking G, that means we're looking the row. Sorry, column, I mean. Dragging this down. This is our first table. And this table is very useful for this. Cancel. For this. And now, one other question is that how do we have something like 5.2 and how do we convert? That's another question you should ask. Normally, let's first format. This is our value. I will do that for other things too. That will bring it into our dashboard. So we are formatting this. This is why I'm showing star star star. I'm showing star star because of there is no space. 17. So what format is using currency, not accounting. Yeah. But now we don't want dollar. Naira. So I don't want this type of naira. So yeah, so one question you ask that okay, how do we convert okay, just one, how do you convert this value? Like how to convert this value? We're gonna call this transaction summary. Just gonna format it. So region summary. This also we actually meant to come and format it as currency. For now, so one last question we can also ask: how do we convert for example. So you can see, so there's one called custom number format. You need to format it yourself, and this is the custom format code. So once you apply it via formatting, how it works, each comma at the end of the number divide the displayed value by 1000 here. Two commas divided by 1 million. This is the tick behind the million, right? So now, so this is what we're going to do. So we're copying this and doing control 1. Now we're doing custom. We're actually pasting the code. Okay. Hope I'm getting it. So some people like I don't enter. So apply the same thing. Control 1. Come here. You paste the formatting code. Can see. So with this now, this one will have like a summary, and um, so let's revise this formula. Let's just do 4,000 because I want to ensure that we bring this one in thousand. So with this, we have our first table. Our first table, and I'll do the second table. Then tomorrow's class, I'll be explaining the dashboard interface. Then we put the charts and all that. Then with that, we'll be moving powerfully. So okay. So now to the second one. Okay, I've done the second one. I mean, let's do the first one. The top agents by volume. So I'm going to do the same thing. Agents, states, and volume. I know now. I also want to do the top. Okay. Just one more table then. So about the one more table, one thing we're going to do is just in tomorrow's class, would would just be going into a couple of other stuff that we'll just be doing too. So, which is going to be more of these charts, right? It's going to be more of charts. We'll be working on the chart and let's see what happens from there. So, working on the charts tomorrow, I'll just ensure that we we have this template also ready. I'll just in PowerPoint format, so we just able to just download it easily. So our Excel and the work will be very fast tomorrow. So it will happen 2 hours tomorrow, so that we can actually complete it. Yeah. So what's the last thing we want to do? Top agents by volume, agent ID, state and volume. And the reason why we are trying to use summary tables like this is that, for example, I should give an example of the fact trying to use pivots to do it. For example, let's show you. I'm actually using pivot to do it.
Hey, Oluwa, Oluwa.
So far saying we have agent ID, state and volume. So it work like this. I carry it as a row. And this is the agent ID. So much safe. So practically, because these are values, can work as a vector. So we have to have our table manually kind of to get it. So let's work on this last. Agent ID, state and volume. So what we're done with this, so please stop agent by volume. So, for example, now let's say you don't know what to do in this um regard, and you know that okay, for example, let me just teach you one trick now for formulas, which is easier now. So this is agent ID, because that's right, agent ID. Agent ID is D2. State F2. Volume. We are talking about the amount. M2. And the volume might not be amount, it can also be like transaction ID. Which is like data. So is the tag called clone. Now I have a summary table in which called the I need formula to drag the top agents by volume. So you can just snipe to just give it context. So you can see what I did now. So I just want to make it as easy as possible. As easy as possible. So tomorrow we move powerfully creating of the dashboards.
sometimes they pay 20 naira. Ah, okay. When in civil. So, okay. I just see the now copy and paste to our WhatsApp. No, my no mean. Yes, yeah.
So all these tables are still bringing them. So tomorrow's class I'll show you what next. Well, everything we just have left is just to put in the charts and stuff and
Let's see.
so it's giving the formula already. I've given it context. So for AP2,
For everything. Only 5 at now.
AP2, they didn't get the exact things I was talking about. Yeah, because they had to add sequence to the formula to give the first thing. Let's see if it works. Oh, the next lookup AP. It goes to X lookup AP4. So I can't see the first one. So there's something wrong. Okay, so the agent for there's no agent ID for this FCT state. That's why it's showing blank. So I think Total volume, total value. Average transaction size. Come, I think KPI should be the success rate. How to ensure that everything is set for tomorrow. So tomorrow we just know that we can just make this white. Just or add a color. Because I don't the goal is not I just want to I don't want to distract the eyesight. So yeah, success rate. So how do you calculate the success rate? Can I ask here? How do we calculate success rate? So this is the last thing. The last thing is success rate. Number of successful transactions over total transaction. That's the success rate. Number of successful transactions over total transaction. So if I get pivot to that transaction ID exactly to status. No. Let's use this. So count if this clean data is successful over, this is the total transaction. So this is what the formula is just saying. This n here, guys, is not n. The formula is not correct. It's o, because o is the status. So it's just like we saying count if the range. This is my range. This is 1,301. Criteria. Over the formula says number of successful transactions. We have done that over total transaction. So total transaction is very simple now. We know that one count A. So we do count A of our transactions. Why? Because when we count this total transaction, total transaction is it has a mixture of both letter and numbers. So see, please, I want everybody to just go back and watch this video. Go back and watch the video carefully, because tomorrow class, and that's what I'm saying. I tell people the stressful part is not the dashboard, because dashboard can be created on the backend the wireframe can be created on PowerPoint, copy paste it to Excel, then you just do some small formatting, then the wireframe is set. But the real work comes with the backend. The work comes with the backend. Yeah, that's where the crazy part of the work is. Where the crazy part of the work is backend, trying to ensure that everything works, which is a mixture of formulas, pivot, basic things like that. So this is the success rate, formatting it in percentage. So the success rate is 83%. So don't mind all this. So this also is just assumed. I just assume stuff here. It's not like this is the correct dashboard. Though. Yeah. So the correct dashboard we're going to do tomorrow. That was just a template. So see you tomorrow. I'll upload the video on YouTube and watch. Yeah, tomorrow we'll do the dashboard and we'll balance from there. Thank you.